Today's video is the old rags to riches story because I am taking cheap fabric and turning it into an expensive looking quilt. Can it be done, or is it the fabric that makes the quilt? I guess we're about to find out. When we're making a quilt to wow the socks off everybody, we think we need to get the expensive fancy fabric. I'm not convinced that's the case, so I went shopping for the cheapest fabric I could find, and I have here a bag full of them right now. I'm cutting 5-inch squares in all kinds of colors. I need a busier fabric and a simpler fabric for each color, and solids are allowed. I should add that this is going to be a very free flow project. And you know how much I love those. Just picking random fabrics, sewing them together, and seeing what we get once we're done. That's what we're doing here today. I am sewing all the way around these blocks, all 4 sides. And if you've seen me do this before, you probably know what comes next. It is one of my favorite quilt blocks ever. It's also probably one of the easiest ones. I'm planning to have so much fun today. I am picking all my favorites. Don't get me wrong, I love my polka dots, I really do. I have them in all colors, and they are by far the cheapest fabric I own, like less than half the price of cute designer fabric. But let's face it, inexpensive fabric just tends to look, well, not worse than expensive fabric, but you know, simpler, plainer fabric. But I believe that with the right pattern, I can make this fabric look like $1,000,000. Well, maybe $100, let's not get carried away. Time to chop these into 4 half square triangles. Just cut twice diagonally, and before you know it, there's 4 tiny quilt blocks ready to be used. And look how gorgeous these look already. Now, I tried using as many different fabrics as I can, but you know, when I don't have that many available, I just make sure I don't place them next to each other, and that's fine. And don't forget to press these before anything else. You know, I would love to make perfect half square triangles right off the bat, but I can't, so let's trim. Do not skip this step, okay? They need to be pretty straight. But at the same time, I want to make clear for all beginner quilters that it's okay if you do not cut your fabric perfectly or if you don't sew perfect straight lines. That's not what makes a quilter. A quilter is born out of creativity, imagination, and a pure joy from making quilts. The rest is just pure training and attention to detail, which I have very little of, I'm afraid. And look at these guys, how absolutely cute are these? And to think these came out of cheap, inexpensive fabric. Ah, gorgeous. But we're not done yet, so let's see what comes next. Now, a fabric that always looks perfect no matter what you do with it is from Mrs. Quilty. I've been getting their boxes for 7 months now, and I think it's about time I tell you all about it. Mrs. Quilty is a monthly subscription service that delivers a surprise box with 12 to 16 fabrics, a magazine with quilting projects, and free gifts directly to your door. At first, I was very excited because I am crazy about fabric, and the idea of a surprise box is so much fun. Then, I read your comments about how unhappy some of you were with the fabrics. I was surprised because the fabrics felt very good quality to me, and I just loved working with them. Yes, the patterns looked a little bit plain, but they mixed really well, so overall it just worked. A great thing about Mrs. Quilty is they actually care about our feedback, and they did something about it. They recently updated their boxes, and the difference is huge. But for me, Mrs. Quilty isn't just about fabrics, it's an experience. It begins with getting that box. You have no idea what's inside. It feels like a wrapped gift you just know you're going to love. Then it challenges you with all the fun projects in the magazines, and after that you get to share them and be inspired by other quilters on the Mrs. Quilty Club on Facebook. Look at all the magic people are creating with their fabrics. Mrs. Quilty has also added video tutorials for every project in the magazine, so anyone can follow along without a hitch. For all of this, I think Mrs. Quilty is a great subscription for quilters of all levels. And if you want to give it a try, there's a 20% discount with the code SANDY20. There are also amazing Christmas bundles on mrsquilty.com with loads of crafting goodies at a very special price. So click now on the link in the description and make sure you do not miss out. We are taking these blocks and we are sewing them back up, except this time they will be in a different position. One thing I've learned from the ugly fabric video is that if you cut your fabric into smaller pieces, you can hide ugly or plain patterns. And if you've done that and you still think the fabric is bad, all it means is you haven't cut it small enough. So that's kind of what I'm going with this. I'm thinking that if the colors are right, the patterns don't really matter. And I actually think this is working, don't you agree? Okay, one more time pressing and trimming these, because for once I do need them to be nice and perfect. Ish. And squares, I need squares. That's really important for what comes next. And now comes the very best part, let's puzzle. And here's another first for me. I'm not doing squares, I'm doing diamonds. Immediately it's looking so much fancier. Just look at that. I'm thinking a rainbow wash would look pretty cool because who am I kidding? I totally end up doing rainbow colors, what can I say? Nature knows what it's doing and it's by far my favorite combination. But I also want to try doing something different today. I am changing the order up. So I'm not starting with the purple, I'm starting from the yellow. Let's see how this goes. I am absolutely loving how this looks. Let's sew it all together. I have to say, and this is looking so much better than I could ever have imagined. This is feeling so luxurious to me, and all I did was take a couple of things I've done over and over again and give them a little twist. The squares that turn into diamonds, combined in a rainbow wash, sewn in a certain way, it all just works. And if you hadn't seen me do it, you would never believe I am using fabrics that cost less like €3 per yard. It just turned into something else. Time to press one last time before doing something that's making me feel really, really nervous. We're cutting all the extra diamond bits to turn this whole thing into a rectangle. Ugh, I need precision here and nerves of steel for a steady hand. Wish me luck. And here we have it, guys. I am in love. How perfect does this look? And how much fun was this? I had a blast. I hope you did too, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.